You know, some industries are just weird. Failure is baked right in, even when it seems like they should be thriving. So today, we're going to tear apart this really cool model from a company called TopClass Leads, or TCL. They figured out how to fix a system that was, quite frankly, broken from the very beginning. So it all kicks off with this big puzzle. Take the cost per lead market, CPL for short. You've got buyers who are always hungry for new leads and a massive global supply of call centers just waiting to generate them. So what gives? Why is this whole system so shaky and just prone to these spectacular meltdowns? That's the mystery we're really diving into.
All right, so first up, let's just get a lay of the land. We're talking about a market that, if you just looked at it on paper, should be a shining example of stability, especially in really regulated spaces like insurance. But, as you're about to see, the reality, it's a total mess.
And this right here is the heart of the problem. When one of these businesses goes under, it's so easy to just point fingers and say, oh, it was bad management or their agents weren't any good. But that's missing the point entirely. Look, these failures, they're not just little oopsies or operational hiccups. They're actually built right into the DNA of the market. Okay, so what are these big structural cracks in the foundation? Well, the traditional model basically forces a single operator to be this incredible juggler. They have to handle all these different roles that are constantly clashing with each other. And this juggling act, it basically creates 4 huge ways the whole thing can just fall apart. First one, this one's a real killer. Payment risk. Producers are out there doing the work, generating leads, delivering them, and then they have to sit and wonder when or even if they're going to get paid. You can imagine, right? This just creates this massive, stomach-churning instability with cash flow. I mean, really think about how dangerous that is. It doesn't even matter if your business is profitable on paper. If your main buyer decides to dispute the quality of the leads or just pays you 90 days late, your whole operation can literally go bankrupt. It's a trap baked into the system, and it has absolutely nothing to do with how good you are at your job.
All right, next up, compliance. We're talking about regulated industries here, where the rules are incredibly complex and they do not forgive mistakes. And in the old model, you're basically telling every single producer, hey, you figure it out, which is, well, a complete recipe for disaster. And we're not talking small potatoes here. The stakes are sky high. Just one mistake, one single bad call, and you're not just losing a customer. You could be staring down the barrel of a lawsuit or getting your entire operation shut down permanently. That's just way too much risk for one operator to carry on their own.
So, flaw number 3 is all about buyer dependency. So many of these CPL producers are basically living and dying by the decisions of just 1 or 2 major clients. If that one buyer sneezes, the producer's entire business catches a cold and basically disappears overnight. It's a house of cards. And last but not least, the 4th flaw, a total lack of standardization. Every producer, every buyer, they all have their own private definition of what a good lead is. This chaos completely tanks any sense of trust. So buyers get these wildly different results, which, of course, makes them super skeptical and hesitant to sign any long-term deals. Bottom line, no standards, no scale, period. Okay, so we've laid out all these problems, right? Now we get to the big aha moment. This is the absolute core insight that the entire TCL model is built around. And this is it, the core idea. The problem isn't the people, it's the design of the system. All those different jobs, making the leads, selling them, worrying about compliance, chasing down payments, they're all pulling in different directions. So you can't just work harder to fix a broken design. You have to go back and change the design itself. Which, naturally, brings us to the solution. If the problem is structural, then guess what? The answer has to be structural too. And it comes down to one key idea, separating these conflicting jobs. So check this out. On the left, you've got the old way. We're calling it the juggler. This one person is trying to do everything. Produce leads, sell them, haggle over price, interpret legalese, and chase down payments. It's chaos. But then, look at the right. That's the TCL model. It's all about separation of powers. The franchisee, they have one job. Execution. Run a great call center, manage your people, deliver the volume. That's it. Meanwhile, the TCL platform handles all that big picture systematic stuff. The buyer contracts, pricing, compliance, and collecting the money. Suddenly, that massive conflict of interest, gone.
And what this separation does is create something really powerful. The source material calls it a risk firewall. It's a fantastic metaphor. The whole idea is to be smart and intentional about who holds which type of risk.
This table really shows you that flip I was talking about. In the old model, look at all that risk piled onto the producer.
Payment risk, compliance, pricing. These are huge things they have no real control over. But the TCL model? It flips that completely on its head. The platform takes on those huge systemic risks because it's built to handle them. So what's left for the franchisee? Just one thing: operational risk. And that's the one thing they can and should control: how well they run their own shop.
So this all leads us to the final, and maybe the most critical, piece of this whole thing: the philosophy behind the money. Like, who is this system really built for?
And honestly, the way TCL makes money is kind of genius. There are no big upfront franchise fees. You're not buying some expensive, exclusive territory. Instead, TCL's revenue is tied 100% to the performance of its franchisees. In other words, they only make money when their partners are actually successful at producing high-quality leads that buyers want. This aligns everyone's goals perfectly.
Okay, so this slide really nails the identity of this model. TCL is not your typical outsourcing deal, it's not some chaotic marketplace, and it's definitely not a passive investment. It's a governed platform. Think of it like an operating system for people who are serious operators, people who actually value discipline and quality. And that difference? It's everything. So, what's the end result of all this? By fixing those deep structural problems and building this system of governance, TCL has created a foundation that can actually scale. In this kind of system, getting bigger doesn't mean getting riskier. Instead, growth happens inside this controlled, stable framework where trust isn't about who you know, it's just built right into the system. And that kind of leaves us with one last big question to chew on. This whole idea, separating the doing from the governing to fix broken incentives, where else could we use that? It's such a powerful way of thinking about systems in any industry that's stuck with these kinds of frustrating problems. And this matters because it's not just a story about one company. It's a potential blueprint for fixing all sorts of broken markets.